Boy, that Nintendo Direct sure was something, huh? Ow, so cool. Anyway, let's see if we can finish this. Let's see if we really can get the innocent verdict in one trial. Adrian did it. That's what it looks like. Yeah, but like she didn't activate the Cyclock. Like, are you telling me I can only do this very helpful lie detection trick on my defendant? Like, why? Like, all these cases would be wrapped up pretty easily. Phoenix would just have to like go to everyone who could have done the murder and hold up the microphone and say, "Did you kill this guy?" And obviously they'd all say no. And then see if the Cyclock's activated. Although maybe if we were like talking to Lana Skye in the last trial of the first game, and if Phoenix had the Magatama, probably would have been like, "Did you kill Detective Goodman?" "Yes, I did." Lock, 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 lock. You're hiding something. It would have been so easy. But the Magatama, it's a gameplay thing. It's a plot thing. It's not really I guess the Magatama just does whatever the plot wants it to do. It's a Deus Ex Machina, much like Mia. Much like spirit channeling. In court today, there will be a mountain of evidence that will implicate you. A mountain of evidence? I'm certain there is someone out there trying very hard to pin this whole thing on you. I think it's D. Killer. He seems insane. I don't fucking know. Maybe he wants to ruin my life. Please, Mr. Lawyer. Dude, like I said yesterday, I'm refreshed like a spring breeze, alright? I believe that. I can't let any sort of scandal ruin that. I understand. Well, it's almost time. Oh, hey, Mia. We must get a complete acquittal today. I know. I can't focus on Maya's situation right now. Or Pearl's either. No matter what, I have to focus on winning this case by the end of the day. Indeed. Well, let's get going. Beep, beep, beep. Oh boy, it's him. This is Wright. Good morning. This is it, Mr. Attorney. The day of the trial. Maya, she's unharmed, right? Well, when I checked on her earlier this morning, she seemed a bit, how shall we say, tired. Don't worry, people don't die that easily. Besides, what you should really be concentrated on is winning today's trial. Grr. For my sake, as well as yours, you must win today's trial. Which is why I sent you a little present this morning. Present? What in the world would you want to give me? It's a pipe bomb! You'll figure it out once the trial starts. And even if you don't like my gift, I expect you to share with your friends and hit the subscribe button. And win the day's contest, if you please. Wait! The kidnapper sent me a present. It's a pipe bomb. Mr. Lawyer Dude, who was that? No one. It has nothing to do with you, so forget you heard anything. I feel like I'm starting to... Matt on guard is starting to sound like Jesse Pinkman. D-Killer sound like Walter White. Mr. White. Hey, Mr. White. You ever play Ace Attorney? You ever watch Doctor Who? Dude, did your nose just get longer? That is kind of something that happens, but like... It's not exactly noticeable. Your blood pressure rises when you're lying because of nervous tics. And that would make your nose slightly bigger, but not so much to be noticed. It could also cause other things to grow. Court is now in session for the trial of Matt on guard. Are the prosecution and defense ready? The defense is ready, Your Honor. I say, Mr. Wright, what happened to Miss Von Karma? I don't know, Your Honor. Why are you getting mad at me? He's always mad at you for something. Your Honor.
Please be quiet, bailiff. Court is in session. If you must tell me something, please keep it brief. Now then, what is it?
Prosecutor. Prosecutor Von Karma has... This morning, Miss Von Karma was shot by an unknown gunman. What?
What?
Shot? Just like her old man. Somehow, I think this is the present that man was talking about.
Shush, keep your voice down. Everyone's gonna think that I did it. It's present.
Miss Von Karma is one of the top prosecutors in the country at the moment. If she were to disappear, it would be to your advantage. This is totally insane. Oh, final prosecutor's gotta be someone else. Miss Von Karma, is she alright?
I don't have that answer.
She's alive and in stable condition.
That's good. Phew. Yeah, you're...
I thought he'd show up.
Edgeworth! That's our boy!
Your Honor, due to the circumstances, Miss Francisca Von Karma cannot appear in court today. I, Miles Edgeworth, will be taking her place. The prosecution is ready. Naturally. Are you gonna stand there the entire time? Oh, okay, there we go. Miss Von Karma was shot in her right shoulder and is currently undergoing surgery. Are we gonna have a trial to, like, uncover who it was who shot Von Karma? There's never been an attempted murder trial. There should be. I mean, I hear in the Great Ace Attorney games, there are, like, different... you don't do murder trials. It's all like, who stole this thing? Or whatever. And that sounds really interesting. So I am looking forward to playing those games when they go on sale, of course. Luckily, I have looked this case over and am familiar with the details. The prosecution seeks to prove the guilt of Mr. Matungard.
The court acknowledges the prosecution.
Right. I finally found the answer I was struggling for on my long journey this past year. By the time this case comes to an end, you too will know the answer. Miles, Miles, we already know you're gay. Now then, the prosecution would like to call its first witness. Please bring Detective Gumshoe to the witness stand. Witness, your name and occupation.
My name's Dick Gumshoe, sir. I'm a detective down at the precinct. For now. For now? After this trial's over, I'm supposed to turn in my badge, sir. They let me keep my gun. For some reason.
Detective Gumshoe? The prosecution has no need for a depressed witness. Lift your head up and face forward like a proud officer, Detective Dick Gumshoe.
Yes, sir.
He lit up as soon as he saw Edgy. Now, let's have your testimony. If we want to explore the various facets of this case, we must start with that. Get ready, Phoenix. This is going to be one very rough fight. Yeah, it would have to be with Edgeworth as my opponent. The answer he was struggling for. Interesting. Show me this answer you finally found, Edgeworth.
This murder happened after the Hero Heroes Award ceremony, sir. The victim, Juan Corrida, was found dead in this hotel room. After looking into the cause of death, we believe he was definitely murdered, sir.
And, like, you know, the ending of, like, the previous trial does seem to confirm, like, what I theorized, where that every, like, a witness that Phoenix manages to indict ends up facing trial, and Edgeworth prosecutes for those trials, so... Hey, there's an idea for a game, a spin-off.
At first, we thought there was something suspicious about the empty guitar case. However, we later found out that the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder.
I mean, functionally, it would probably be just the same as playing as Phoenix, right? Because you gotta prove that this guy, who claims they saw someone else do the murder, gotta prove that they are the actual murderer. It's just that instead, you're Edgeworth.
After the award ceremony ended, the victim was alone in his room?
Yes, sir. Both the victim and defendant went alone to their rooms, sir.
I see. Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
Oh no, I forgot my order.
This murder happened after the Hero Heroes Award ceremony, sir. The victim, Juan Corrida, was found dead in his hotel room.
The person who discovered the victim's body was Adrian Andrews, correct?
Yeah. Who is this Adrian Andrews you're talking about?
She's the defendant, Matt Onguard's manager. She's a really pretty lady, sir.
Ah, so she's a pretty lady. I wonder if she will grace us with her presence.
Is anyone in this game over 40?
When the post-ceremony show was about to start, she went to get Mr. On Guard.
After visiting his room, she went to the victim's room to get him for the show, sir.
I see. And that's when she found the victim's body.
After looking into the cause of death, we believe he was definitely murdered, sir. At first, we thought there was something suspicious about the empty guitar case. I think there's something suspicious about that statement. And why did you think that?
Because it was empty, pal. The German Ninja doesn't go anywhere without his bright red guitar, and we couldn't find it anywhere at the scene of the crime. Oh, then how about this theory? A fan really wanted the guitar and did the crime to get it. How's that?
We thought of that too, but... The only fingerprints on the guitar case were the victims. Only the victims, huh? He ate the guitar.
I see. So much for my theory then.
Why would a fan of the Jammin' Ninja kill the Jammin' Ninja? Corrida's fingerprints. However, we found out that the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. What convinced you it had nothing to do with the case?
The guitar wasn't at the Gatewater Hotel that night. Well then, where was it?
The bright red guitar was eventually found at the TV studio. The victim, Juan Corrida, had apparently only taken the case with him, sir.
So you mean he forgot to put the guitar inside the case?
Yes, sir. Even when he was on stage for the ceremony, he didn't have his guitar. So that guitar case was empty even before he got to the hotel. Yeah, that's right. So it really had nothing to do with the case after all. Our first order of business should be to gather more info from his testimony. Why, there might be a trap set up for us somewhere. Maybe. However, setting off traps is part of a lawyer's job too. If you say so. Of course, we're supposed to escape from them too, wouldn't you say? This murder happened after the Hero Horse. The cause of death. Wasn't that because Mr. Corrida was stabbed in the chest?
Only a careless amateur would believe something so brainless as that, pal.
Take a good hard look at the crime photo. Now, a real pro's attention would be drawn here, to this bandana.
Banana.
His bandana, sir. That's the thing wrapped tightly around his neck, sir. The knife was a red herring.
Ah, yes, I see. His banana-scented bandana.
How are you a judge? Then what about the knife? It seems to have been stuck to the victim's chest on purpose after his death.
We have a crafty murderer on our hands here.
Strangled with a scarf. Surely it should be I believe that is enough. First, the victim was choked to death with his bandana. Then, after the victim was dead, the killer deliberately stabbed him with a knife. Which brings me to my next point. Why then did the police arrest Matt on guard? Because there is reason enough to suspect him. Well, he did live he was in the room across from, Juan Corrida. Here it comes. Looks like Edgeworth's back is in full swing.
Very well. Detective Gumshoe, please testify about this matter.
Yes, sir. Matt on guard and Juan Corrida were huge rivals with each other. They each thought the other guy was in his way. That's motive enough in my book. As for evidence, there's the Jammin' Ninja's button. It was ripped off of the ninja's costume and was found in Mr. On Guard's hakama. I really should have looked up the pronunciations for those words before I started recording. The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. Wow. This hotel is gaudy. Gold-colored, butter knives? What the fuck? The defendant bought the knife for the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder. Oh, I see. So it's not from the hotel.
So the defendant's fingerprints are found on the knife used in the stabbing.
What psychopath has a golden knife? Don't say psychopath. That's insensitive to people with psychopathy. It's like a CSGO knife.
It was sort of sticky on the handle, so the fingerprints came out pretty clearly, sir.
Gatewater. Technically, I don't really have to prove that Angar didn't stab Juan, since that wasn't the cause of death. I just have to prove that he wasn't strangled by my client. And then there's this button.
That was found in the defendant's clothes, was it? And this button, is this button also covered in blood?
Yes, and we know that the blood on it is the victim's blood, sir. So it's not tomato juice. What? Jammin' Ninja's button.
All this points very clearly to the defendant, doesn't it?
Yes, it most certainly does, Your Honor. Ready to give in yet, Wright? I'll find the hole in your argument somehow. Just like how I find the hole... You can press as hard as you like. Just hurry up with your usual pointless questions. And after the trial, I'd like you to press me against the wall. The tension. The sexual tension. Huge rivals. They each thought the other guy was in his way. That's motive enough in my book. Wait just 1 second here. Mr. Ungard was beating Mr. Kurita in the popularity polls.
Well, yeah, I guess, but...
Which means that in the defendant's eyes, the victim was not a rival at all. Which means he had no motive to kill at all. You think it would be the other one?
Yes, I quite agree. Well, Detective?
It's not, well...
I guess if you put it that way, then yeah, the defendant would have had no motive.
So wait, is, Gumshoe... Like, before... Like, we've heard the prosecution before refer to the witness as their client. Which, I don't think that's how it works, at least not here in the States. Because, like, in a criminal court case, the prosecution's quote-unquote client is the state. They are hired by the state. They represent the state. You know, that's why the trials are usually like state of so-and-so versus name of the defendant. So, like, so maybe, so unless the witnesses are also selected by the state, I don't really see how the witnesses would be the prosecution's client. And then again, I'm not a lawyer. Ask Legal Eagle about this or something. Not that I know Legal Eagle. I just like referencing the names of YouTubers, other people on YouTube. Detective, I'm beginning to see why you were fired. Shout out to Legal Eagle. I am not sponsored by him.
No, not you too, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. That's...
I look forward to your pension negotiations. Salary cutting noises. No!
Now, Detective, let's continue with the testimony.
Not my poor pension, too. I'm gonna have to start a Patreon. How does Detective Gumshoe survive? Detective, if you value your money, I suggest you proceed. Yes, sir.
We can talk about my pension later, sir.
Pension. That's his retirement fund. So, he's not even gonna be able to retire? Poor bastard, he's gonna be working for the rest of his life. What was I about? What about what I was saying? Hello? Anyone? As for evidence, there's the Jammin' Ninja's button.
Do you have any proof that button belonged to the victim? Okay, Phoenix. Phoenix, I know you like to press. I know we have to be pressing the witness on every detail, but seriously. Huh?
What do you mean, pal?
Oh, let me put it this way. I'm asking you if you have any evidence to back up your claim that this button was ripped off of the Jammin' Ninja's costume.
Huh? Then can't you tell just by looking at it? And the victim's blood is on it.
Huh? Anyone could have smeared that blood on there afterwards.
Mr. Edgeworth, help me, sir.
Right, I knew it had to be this piece of evidence. Now to reel this one in. I have my doubts, but let's see where this is going. Thread. Huh? The button was attached to the costume by thread, obviously. And that thread snapped when the button was torn off. If you match up the ends of the thread on the costume with the thread on the button, it's a perfect match.
Yeah, that's it. They're a perfect match, pal.
That's Edgeworth for you. Never misses a beat. Well, hey, negative results are still results. And is found in Mr. Angard's Hakama. My client believes that it was planted on him. Well, not my client. A friend of my client. Basically, I heard through hearsay that it was planted on his person. And hearsay is a kind of evidence. When was this button found?
Pretty soon after the body was found, we rounded up everyone who knew Mr. Corita. And then we did a search on them all. That's when we found the button. So it was almost immediately after the murder.
The police didn't have the free time to lollygag and play tricks unlike some people. They may not have been lollygagging, but were they dilly-dallying? Were they engaging in tomfoolery? Were they taking the mickey? Were they doing monkey business? The prosecution has failed to answer that. The defense demands to know whether or not the police were dilly-dallying or engaging in tomfoolery. What is he trying to say about me here?
The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. The defendant bought the knife for the crime.
How do we know that? There is no way this was a premeditated murder, even if he bought the knife. Also, how do you prove he bought the knife? I want to see the receipts. Literally, show me the receipt.
Sorry, pal, this isn't some pocket knife. It doesn't fold, so it's not great for walking around with either.
I mean... Well, then why would that be used for murder? That's not a knife for killing. Well, this is not good. If the prosecution can prove there was a premeditated murder, we're done for. Phoenix. Yes? There's something very interesting about what the detective said just now. Think carefully, before it's too late. A button covered in the victim's blood, and a knife with Angard's fingerprints. Be grateful. If the judge were more rash, he would have already pounded his gavel in closing. We're still in a world of trouble. Well, before any battle, you must find your enemy's weakness. Know your enemy. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Switching to your pistol is faster than reloading. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. So let's find the weakness in this testimony, no matter how small it may be. Okay, Phoenix? Matt Angard and Juan Corrida were huge rivals. How are the fingerprints arranged on the knife?
Huh? What do you mean, pal?
By examining the fingerprints, you can determine how the defendant held the knife. For example, did he hold it normally or overhand?
Oh, is that what you meant? Well, we didn't actually think of that.
Of course. I can't believe the bumbling of this department. Is Phoenix like the only guy in here? Phoenix and Edgeworth are like the only people who actually know how forensic analysis works. Whenever Emma Skye isn't in the room, of course. Hopeless. Were you paying attention to the testimony, Wright? The defendant's fingerprints were all over the knife. There was no way to determine how the knife was held at the moment of the murder. Damn it! He's using facts and logic and common sense.
So is the defendant the owner of this knife, then?
Defendant bought the knife for the crime. Booba dooba. Gatewater. He didn't buy the knife. I was right. It belongs to the hotel. He didn't buy the knife. Wait a second.
What?
So the basis of your argument is that this was a premeditated... So the basis of your argument that this was a premeditated murder is simply that my client bought a knife beforehand?
That's right, pal. The defendant
Did not buy this knife.
Huh?
Take a good look at the handle of this knife, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Huh? It has a Gatewater seal set into the handle. Gatewater? I think I've heard that name somewhere before.
That's the name of the hotel. The Gatewater Hotel.
Uh-oh. Spaghetti-o.
The murder knife was actually the property of the hotel, which means this murder was not premeditated. And if it was premeditated, it wasn't premeditated by the client, since my client, there is no way to connect my client to this murder except for the button, and we don't even know if that button was or was not planted.
That is very true. That is a very big... what is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
I'm sorry, but the defense is simply too careless.
What?
Don't say. I think whether the crime was premeditated or not has already been determined.
How so?
I admit this knife is hotel property. There is no one currently on the police force that is dumb enough not to realize this.
But I didn't know...
Oh. God. The question is... Is he at least gonna get a severance package? Where did this knife come from?
Why, that's obvious. It came from the victim, Mr. Corita's room.
Sorry, Your Honor, but that is incorrect. The victim ate a last meal before he was murdered. With that being the case, I would like to draw the court's attention to what is on top of the table.
There is a knife and a fork on the table. Then, where in the world did this knife come from?
What, a room can't have multiple knives? If it pleases the court, I would like for us to recall the room of the defendant, Mr. Matongard. But see, look! There are 2 knives in that room! Why couldn't there have been 2 knives in the other room? Especially what was on top of his table. There is something missing. Perhaps it is a single knife? We investigated the leftover dishes for fingerprints, and while we were investigating, we came to the conclusion that Mr. Matongard's knife was missing. God. Mr. Ungard had gone to the victim's room with a knife he had used during dinner. Why would he carry a knife on a visit? To kill, of course. And with that, I believe the prosecution has proven this was a premeditated murder.
Amazing, Mr. Edgeworth. Absolutely brilliant. A brilliantly clear deduction.
Okay, but, like, all that proves that Matt held the knife at some point. Like, that doesn't prove that he strangled the victim to death. Isn't that what we should be focusing on? We shouldn't be focusing on who was holding the knife. We should be focusing on who strangled Juan. Check the handkerchief for fingerprints. Not a handkerchief, or it's a neckerchief. A kerchief. It seems like Edgeworth had this plan from the very beginning. This must be one of those traps, and I just walked headlong into it.
A murder weapon with fingerprints and a button from the victim's costume. There is quite a sizable amount of evidence here.
I can safely say that any further deliberation is a waste of your Honor's time. Although, I wouldn't mind if the defense were to present evidence not yet shown to the court. Evidence not yet shown?
He means evidence that the court hasn't seen yet. In other words, new evidence. Surprise evidence.
What does the defense have to say about this, Mr. Wright?
Well, Phoenix, the judge is favoring the prosecution right now. If we answer with something wrong here, that gavel of his will be reading out the sound of our defeat.
Mr. Wright, do you have something important and necessary to present to this court?
Yes. There's one piece of evidence that catches my attention. Something that this court has yet to see.
Mr. Wright, I will say this one more time. I do not feel this trial needs to continue at all. However, I am giving you one chance, and only one.
What the judge is saying, Wright, is don't try pulling one of your usual bluffs here. If I mess this up, it's curtains for all of us. Oh my shit! Holy shit! Okay. It's something that they haven't seen before, and it has to be relevant to the case. The tomato juice?
This is a wine glass, is it not?
Please look at the photo of the crime scene one more time. The scene is a mess because of the victim's struggle against his assailant. The vase was broken, his makeup is all over the floor. These were all things that were at one point sitting on top of the dresser.
Well, yes, I see your point.
However, this glass that is sitting on top of the dresser is mysteriously untouched. The only thing that had not fallen all over, all along with everything else, is this wine glass. This piece of evidence is more than strange enough to warrant further consideration. Well, what do you all have to say?
Well, yes, it is a little peculiar.
Yes, isn't it? I thought it was.
You can stop looking at me with those puppy dog eyes of yours now. And stop staring at me with them big old eyes.
No, I'm not going to make the judge sound like a pirate. I just considered that for a split second, decided, nope.
Mr. Edgeworth?
Although I do hope that there is someone who I can make sound like a pirate in this game, or the next game. What is it, Your Honor?
Your opinion.
You don't need my opinion, because there is no special meaning to that glass. What? It's safe to say that the glass was set there after the crime took place. By the person who discovered the body, Adrian Andrews, for example. She could have easily been so shocked that she set the glass down without thinking. But where did the glass come from? And how do we know she didn't tamper with the crime scene?
That does sound very plausible, Mr. Wright.
Could Miss Andrews really have set that glass down without thinking? Let's see here. Seems to have it all together. No way. If I appear weak here, the trial is over. I can look for my proof later. For now, I should trust my instinct and point with certainty. They just might fall for it, if you're thought-provoking enough. The defense would like to challenge the prosecution's theory. We would like to see something that proves it was Miss Andrews who set the cup on the table.
You've turned the situation on its head yet again, as usual. Mr. Edgeworth, do you have any proof to back up your claim?
There's no way he has any. He's just bluffing. Unlike Mr. Wright, I never say anything unless I have the evidence to support it.
What? You're not thinking hard enough today, Wright. Did you think this wine glass escaped my notice? Then, of course it has been thoroughly inspected for fingerprints. Fingerprints, Psychomantis. There were only one set of fingerprints left on this wine glass.
Only one? Well, whose were they?
They were not the victims nor the defendants. Rather, they were one Adrian Andrews.
What?
Okay, but why would she have done it subconsciously? She wouldn't. That's why I said that the person who discovered the body had left it there. Okay, but why? Are we done here, Mr. Wright? Gar, can't believe I fell into another trap. Miss Andrews was probably holding the glass when she went to see Mr. Corita. But upon seeing his dead body, she was stunned and set the glass down on the dresser.
What you just said makes a lot of sense.
Tisk, tisk, tisk. Now do you see, Wright? You can't change any part of my scenario, as it explains everything all too well.
Gar!
I've thought long and hard this past year about what it means to be a prosecutor, and from here on out I will show you the answer I have come to discover.
Wait a second. Mr. Edgeworth, I think the prosecution has provided enough evidence for me to enter my verdict.
Unfortunately, I cannot allow you to pass judgment yet. The prosecution has yet another witness we would like the court to hear from. Another witness? Yes. Bailiff, please bring in the next witness. What in the world is Mr. Edgeworth thinking? He wants to do it by the books. He's not doing any. He's like following the rules. Like, you have to show all the evidence. No more underhanded tricks. No more surprise evidence. No more updated autopsy reports. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. Oh no. Witness, your name and occupation, please.
Ah! I've been shot! Gotcha! No! Not you!
I wonder what happened to that calm composure he had earlier.
Oh, Reggie boy, it's been, what, a year since we last met, hasn't it? You should be more happy to see me. Oh, big ol' it's white fella.
I saw the report with her testimony, but who knew that under that helmet, it was the Wicked Witch of the witness stand?
I tell you, this time I know what I'm supposed to do. So today I'm going to tell you anything and everything. Even things that don't have to do with that terrible crime.
Miss Witness, that terrible crime is all this court needs to know.
Oof. 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 Do you know the origin of the Roblox Oof? Basically, it all started in early 2000s when this guy named Tommy Tallarico. Oh shit, I didn't mean that.
Don't interrupt us, Gramps.
Yes, madam.
No, please, by all means, interrupt her, please! Anyway, witness, your testimony, please.
It's true what they say, that youth are hot-headed nowadays. Not that my mind at all, Edgy. Now then, what should I start with?
The witness was on security detail at the hotel on the night of the murder. Is this correct, Miss Oldbag?
It was a great job being able to see my dearie Juan. It was almost too much for my little heart to handle.
You mean you were a fan of the victim?
Look, everyone is crazy over that on guard, saying he's cute in a fresh way or something.
Fresh like a spring breeze.
But not me. I wouldn't say anything so silly. After all, I have no interest in a little child like him. I'm only interested in a real man, Juan Corita.
They're the same age!
Anyway, as I was saying, I was pacing in front of his room that night.
Very well. Please tell the court what you witnessed the night of the murder. I think I can get an achievement depending on, like, if I press her on, like, a specific thing. So I'm just going to press her on everything. See if I got a funny achievable.
Anyway, after the ceremony, I went to pace around in the hallway in front of his room. There was something I was interested in finding out, you know. Well, since I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye out the whole time. That's when someone showed up. It was a man coming out of poor Juan's room. It was On Guard, Matt On Guard. He was trying to sneak his way out of Juan's room.
Maybe they were having gay sex.
So Mr. On Guard came out from the victim's room.
See? It has to be him. He's the murderer.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
Okay. Miss Oldback, what was your post on that night?
The lobby. I was supposed to help set up the stage for that trifling show.
Shoddy trifling. She must be from Dirty Docks.
But I refused to help. I'll have you know, it was for that lead-headed samurai show. Heh, I even took out a few of the nails.
Maybe it was a good thing so the show didn't go on.
Besides, that manager with the glasses seemed to be working hard at it without me.
Manager with the glasses? Oh, right, Adrian.
So I thought I'd take a break and spread my wings a little.
And that's when you went to hang around the victim's door.
There was something I was interested in finding out, you know.
Something you were interested in? And just what was that?
It's not some little thing I can just go around telling everyone, you know. You're under oath! It's top secret between me and Juan. Ah, and EDGY, of course.
Mr. Edgeworth, what is this thing she was interested in?
I have no idea. I despise gossip, Your Honor. Gossip? But should it prove relevant, we can always have it appended to her testimony later. Looks like we shouldn't force it right now.
And did the witness stay in the vicinity of the victim's door the entire time?
Well, since I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye out the whole time.
Oh? Then would you tell us the number of people who went in and out of Mr. Carita's room?
I have no idea! I wasn't born so I could count things for those who didn't pay attention in class. That's why ever since I turned 20, I quit keeping track of how old I really am.
Yes, well, that would explain why your age was not included in the report.
Could you at least... In any case... The witness then saw someone, correct?
That's when someone showed up.
My throat's starting to hurt. Really should have gotten that water. Who in the world was that?
I'm not allowed to say. This sort of information has to be carefully guarded from the masses, Sonny. The man that came out of Juan's room, he was...
Yes, he was.
Ah, I'm too scared. I can't say his name out loud.
Oh, I'm good to have Francisco's whip right about now.
Well, I guess I can tell you, since he was such a bad boy anyway. It was On Guard, Matt On Guard. He was trying to sneak his way out of Juan's room.
You saw my client? Are you sure about that?
Yes, see.
Oh, that's a palindrome. Really?
And I'm Brett. When I say I saw someone, I saw that person.
You said you saw Will Powers, but it wasn't Will Powers, it was Jack Hammer. Why do I get a sense of deja vu? Maybe to avoid a repeat of last year, I should delve into this a bit further. The person's face. Please tell the court about the man's face in more detail.
You don't need me to tell you about his face. That soft, gentle look in his eyes and his effeminate lips. His right eye covered by his silky hair. His sparkling, shining teeth.
His teeth were shining. My shiny teeth and me. I don't...
Well, he's shining all around in this week's pinup poster, dearie.
This week's pinup? Why do you... I mean... I don't care how he looks in this week's issue. Please say what you saw with that night.
What? On Guard's face is the same no matter where it is. You know, you whippersnapper.
So, Mr. Wright, was this testimony just now important or relevant in any way?
Let me, try a different... What was the man you saw carrying?
In which hand? His right or his left? Ah, now this is a real mess. I mean, I can't be expected to answer such a big question.
Indeed. Please be more specific with your question, Mr. Wright.
What was the man you saw carrying in his right hand? Ah, he wasn't carrying anything in that hand. Then, how about his left? Empty. Well, this whole thing is all nothing. Please tell the court about the man's clothes in more detail. What a troublesome man you are. Really, as if something like that matters. But it does. Now what was it? Oh yes, it was that thing. What thing? That gaudy thing he's always wearing. That racing jacket. Ah, he was wearing that at the detention center too. That thing's meant for nothing but seducing women out of their pantaloons. Heh, men.
Oh, well, yeah, he also seduces men. Right. So, Mr. Wright, was this testimony just now important or relevant in any way?
Let me think about this carefully. Was the testimony relevant? Specifically the question I asked.
Ask her about his face. He says his face.
Wait. Let me check something. Face. His right eye.
Damn it, his right eye is covered by
hair.
Of course it was important, Your Honor. Then perhaps you would like to point out what part of that testimony was important.
You don't really have to put it that way to get me to say.
Mr. Wright, there is something much more valuable than a person's pride, and that is time. Please don't waste this court's precious time with worthless questions.
Yes, Your Honor. I think I just wasted his good favor. She may not remember things or be mistaken here and there, but I don't think she's lying. That's bad for us, really bad. But that's how the human mind is. It also has the tendency to jump off topic. She's strayed onto a few interesting side topics this time too, hasn't she? But that's what makes her a sweet old lady, right? That's because you're not the one who has to question her. Anyway, after the ceremony, I went to pace around in the hall in front of his room. There's gotta be some kind of conscience. Maybe I should just say, yes, it's important, but for everything else. What was he carrying? Nothing. I swear, this is like asking the teacher, can I use the bathroom? I don't know, can you?
The witness has a point, Mr. Wright. You should specify whether you mean can I or may I.
What is this? Close.
Wait, what? Does it, Edgeworth? He was confident about something. Did I get it right?
You know, I am going to just, I want to see this. I want to pay attention to everything. The person's clothes. Please tell the court about the man's clothes. Troublesome man, as if it really matters, but it does. That thing. What thing? Gaudy racing jacket. Nothing but seducing women out of their pantaloons. Men. Seducing women and men. He's bisexual. Right.
So, Mr. Wright, was this testimony just now important or relevant in any way?
Of course it was important, Your Honor. Then perhaps you would like to point out what part of that testimony was important. Don't you see it, Edgeworth? Your Honor,
I request what the witness said about the jacket to be appended to her testimony.
I don't quite see where you're going with this, but all right. Witness, please.
Well, I don't like to badmouth anyone without reason, but if I must. He was wearing his flashy racing jacket.
Flashing racing jacket. Shit. Okay, I got this. So, something about the racing. There's... I have no idea. Oh! But the button wasn't found in his jacket, it was found in his costume. Miss Oldbag.
What? Don't say my name for no reason.
Do you know what this is?
Ah, it's button number 2 on the Jammer Ninja's costume.
Now I know she's an obsessed fan. She identified it in a single glass. If I ever live to be that old, I am so gonna be as much an obsessed fanboy just like Oldbag. Hopefully I won't look or talk like that, though.
Give it here, give it here. If you don't give it to me, I'll punish you with this.
Now I know how Maya feels. Wow, she really is a die-hard fan to want a button covered in blood. This button was discovered on Mr. On Guard's body during a full body search.
See? This button proves beyond a shadow of a doubt it was that... that rascal on guard.
It was caught up in the pleats of his nickel samurai Hakama pants.
See? And on guard is the nickel samurai.
Witness! Now, it may just be me, and I do have an active imagination. But just now, didn't you say that the defendant, Matt on guard, was wearing his usual racing jacket?
Ah, I'm so sorry. Sorry that you judge people based on what they wear. If I wore the trainer test, maybe you think I was the most gorgeous woman ever. Instead, I put up with this ridiculous looking outfit. You guys have to see this, right? I got a tape score stuck on my chest. Let me tell you, it's heavy, so heavy. I wish I switched to CD stage ago. But I keep that traveling all those cubes in it. I got a smile face. So said, now, take a look at the mirror. Here goes my essentially as Doc Maynard curling. You think it's now he's got style. Don't you lecture me with your $30 haircut.
Now hold your tongue still there for 1 second.
Dripless. She just called me dripless.
So what you saw in actuality was not Mr. On Guard, the man. But Mr. On Guard, the nickel samurai?
But when you think about it, they're really one and the same anyway.
Miss Oldbag, this is a very important point we're talking about.
Edgy Pooh, do you think so too?
Well, it might be something worth considering. Just say it's important and agree with me for a change.
Witness, think carefully and try to remember as much as you can before you testify.
All right, if you insist.
I should be the one sighing, not you.
On guard. Yes, now I remember. The nickel samurai. That's right. It was the nickel samurai that I saw. Yes, it would have been convenient for him to wear this costume during the murder.
But he wasn't.
He had to go to that post-ceremony stage show right after the crime, you know. So he must have worn that nickel samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan.
I knew it! I knew you'd say he was inside of that costume.
What? Did you think there could have been someone else inside that costume? Don't be a bad little boy thinking such rude things.
But the possibility does exist!
Ah, yesterday, I told you there is no way it was anyone else.
How do you know that?
Because I say so, and what I say is true.
You also said he was wearing a racing jacket.
At least she's just as delightful a witness as she was a year ago.
Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Would you please get on with your testimony?
What's your language, young man?
Well, right, I'll be sending the bill for the chewing gum to your office at a later date. Remind me to send you a thank you note later too, Edgeworth, old chum. Don't you mean Edgeworth, Daddy? What kind of gum does Mr. Edgeworth buy for him to get, like, billed for it? Homie is buying designer gum. Be a little more careful with your testimony, please. Not too long ago, you said he was wearing his racing jacket, and now he's not?
Not too long ago? Then let me ask you this. When you were itty bitty, what was your grand dream?
He wanted to be a rock star or something. You can still grow. My dream, huh? Well, I wanted to be Judge Wagner, hero of the public's court. So what?
See? And look where you are now. You're not Judge Wagner, are you? Are you?
Well,
what I said earlier. Who puts any weight into things like that? The court!
Since when did court become theatrics over testimonies? Since Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, was released in 2001.
All that matters is that man was inside that costume. Isn't that enough?
I got an achievement! Judge Wagner! I, don't get it, but it's funny.
Yes, it would have been convenient for him to wear his costume during the murder.
And why would that be?
That way, no one could see his face, of course.
But there's still no advantage for him that I can see. In fact, you would think the costume would make him stand out all the more.
You are such an annoying child, you know that? You disagree with everything I say.
That's my job! Is that what you're always doing to me?
I got it. Maybe it was more troublesome for him to change in and out of his costume. He had to go to that post-ceremony stage, Joe, right after the crime, you know.
Let me try someone. Nope. Real testimony contradicts the evidence moment. Was there anyone else scheduled to appear at the post-ceremony show?
Well, all the contestants were supposed to go on stage in a friendly gesture thing.
And that included the Jim and Ninja.
Of course it included him. That's why when On Guard came out of dear Juan's room, I didn't give it a second thought.
I see.
Well, anyway. So he must have worn the Deco Samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan.
I'll press her on it first. So let me ask you one last time. The person you saw, it really was the Nickel Samurai?
As sure as ever. Haven't I been saying that from the very beginning?
Can I throw in the towel yet? Maya's life is on the line. Oh shit, I forgot about Maya again. That's just gonna be my new catchphrase. Oh shit, I forgot about Maya. You don't need to think too hard on this one. Huh? There's a contradiction in her testimony and it's sitting in plain sight. The question is what that contradiction means for us. Well, I have to figure out what you're talking about first, but okay. Let's look at the evidence. Wait. If he was wearing the costume,
then there wouldn't have been fingerprints. Please take a look at this. Yeah, so it's a knife. Big deal. If you're trying to scare me with that, I'll have you know, it won't work. No, that's not my intention at all.
That's the knife that was used in the murder, correct?
Your Honor, do you know why this piece of evidence is important to this case?
You don't even have to ask. It's because the defendant's fingerprints are on it.
Is that what you're driving at? That is exactly what I'm driving at. He already knows. They're so in sync.
What are we driving at? Whose car is driving?
If Mr. Elngard was really in the Nickel Samurai costume at the time of the murder, then it's impossible for his fingerprints to have been left on this knife. Actually, he would have wiped all previous fingerprints on this knife right off.
Oh, that's right. Nickel Samurai wears gloves, doesn't he?
So one of two things is possible. One, Matt Elngard was in Juan's room, but he wasn't the guy who killed him. Or two, someone put on the Nickel Samurai costume, killed Juan Corrida, and then planted fingerprints on the knife. He probably took his gloves off before he began the stabbing. What? And why would he do something like that? To leave his prints on the murder weapon? There is no way he would do something like that. However, there is one possibility. Then let's hear your possibility. Shut up and kiss already. It's very simple. The defendant went to the victim's room while in costume as the Nickel Samurai. At that time, the defendant held no intent to murder. He was probably just going to relax and talk with the victim about the stage show, which is why he took his gloves off.
But the murder still did take place.
Also, the knife isn't the murder weapon. It was the scarf. It's well known that there was bad blood between the defendant and the victim.
Yes, I have heard that before. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say about Mr. Edgeworth's theory?
So let me get this straight. Edgeworth's theory goes like this. When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intention of killing him. Now, up to this point, are there any problems with this theory? He went to his room to talk. Then there has to be. Let me think. Think about it one more time. When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intention of killing him. Up to this point. I don't have anything to prove or disprove intent, so let's just continue. But if you let Edward's theory stand, oh. Yeah, still recording, thank God. Up to this point. Think about it one more time. When the defendant went to the victim, he had no intention of killing him. Don't turn your thinking around, Phoenix. Don't think about when the defendant. Think when the true killer, because you know it's not Matt, so it has to be someone else. So when the killer went to the victim's room, no intention of killing. This theory contradicts something in an earlier testimony. What are you babbling about? Now, for argument's sake, let's suppose Mr. Elngard was the killer. If that's the case, I think it's impossible for the killer to have gone to the victim's room without intent. Is it because of the knife? This knife. This was used by Mr. Elngard at dinner.
Yes, we did establish that.
Which means that if my client was in fact the killer, then he brought this knife with him when he went to visit Mr. Corrida. I suppose. However, you just said it yourself. At that time, the defendant held no intent to murder. If that were true, then why would he bring a knife? He wouldn't, would he? Which means, Mr. Edgeworth, your theory was flawed from supposition 1. And one more thing. If the murderer was wearing the costume at the time of the murder, then there should be glove marks left on the knife. Glove marks? Is that a thing? Which means the defendant's fingerprints shouldn't be all over it like bees on a hive. And that brings me to my final point. This knife was planted by the real killer to hide their identity and mislead us.
Order! Order, I say! Order in the court! Was this knife really planted by the killer? Why would the murderer do such a thing?
Obviously to frame Matt. It's to frame my client, Mr. On Guard, of course.
To frame?
Aren't you forcing the interpretation just a little too hard on this one? But we just established that the witness saw the Nickel Samurai in costume. And if that were true, then there shouldn't be a single fingerprint on this knife. Witness! Finally, we got... Looks like... Oh, shit, I didn't read that. Gah!
Witness, did you or did you not really see the Nickel Samurai?
Well, I guess at first I might have forgotten, but... Are you saying you mixed up Mr. On Guard with the Nickel Samurai, his character on TV? But I mean, I can't really do anything about that now. Look, I was waiting around in front of their doors because, well, I wasn't waiting around for the Nickel Samurai, that's for sure. She wasn't waiting for the Nickel Samurai. Alright then, who were you waiting around for then? That's top secret to anyone outside of security. You are under oath!
I have a feeling you were waiting for Mr. Juan Corrida. Am I correct, witness?
The way you think, you are a sad amateur with a terrible case of nearsightedness. Amateur? Me?
What am I an amateur of?
So Old Bag was waiting around in front of the victim's room. But it doesn't sound like she was waiting to catch a glimpse of Mr. Corrida. So it wasn't Corrida. Maybe Phoenix. Maybe the Old Bag was waiting around for that person. If it's who I think Mia's hitting at, it's certainly possible. Miss Old Bag. You were waiting for this person to come out of the victim's room. The victim. Someone who was... Adrian? This is Adrian Andrews, Mr. On Guard's manager.
But why would the defendant's manager be in the victim's room?
It seems that this is the latest rumor in circulation, Your Honor.
Oh, this is... I see!
The judge seems to be really into the article. If it can be called such a thing.
Then this manager with the initials AA, are you saying it's...
Adrian Andrews, without a doubt. The witness thought so as well. Looks like you found me out. Well, that's fine. I can throw away this whole sworn to confidentiality stuff then.
Witness, what in the world are you?
Watch out, Phoenix. I've got a bad feeling about this. A very bad feeling. I got some information. Some very secret information from a certain source. So that's why I was doing my own little investigation. In secret, of course.
Yeah, but what for?
Oh, just for myself. Personal reasons and all that.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, how will you proceed from here?
I really don't want to do this. However, I cannot simply let this point slide. I see.
Very well, then. Witness, please testify about this secret information.
Get ready. This is gonna take the wand out of the youngins. I'm sure we're all capable of handling this. It's not like we're 10 years old. Phoenix is pushing 30. He's 25. For now. That On Guard is one evil, evil man. He thought he could ruin poor Juan by causing a huge scandal. So to do that, he sent his own manager to get in close with Juan. But wouldn't that make Adrian a suspect? I cannot condone such dirty tricks, so I took action. Oh, and this is top secret. You got that? Nobody else but you and me know yet, okay? That's a contradiction. The defendant
Sent his manager? What a distasteful topic for this court.
What? Nobody's above gossip. And isn't there a saying? The truth is never pleasant. Never heard that one before.
Mr. Edgeworth, what about this Agent Andrews person?
We have looked into this matter and found that the truth the article proposes is, in fact, baseless gossip.
But should this be true, then this proves that the defendant did bear ill will toward the victim.
So that means I have to smash this rumor once and for all. Smash the rumor. Beat the allegations.
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Be careful. The old bag seems rather excited right now.
That's right, on guard is nothing but your average foul-blooded youth.
Well, as the old saying goes, gotta burn old bags with fire. That's not a saying. I've never heard. Is that a saying? Time to fire up the afterburners and hit the highway to the danger zone. Ha 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 ha! Pop culture reference. Highway to the danger zone. Maybe I shouldn't be taking so many screenshots. I'm gonna clutter up my hard drive. I'm already running low on space for video games.
That on guard is one evil, evil man. He thought he could ruin poor Juan by causing a huge scandal.
A scandal? What do you mean by that?
You're a dim-witted one, aren't you? I can't believe you don't know what a scandal is. Honestly, what are they teaching kids in middle school these days?
No, I won't ask what the word scandal means. Even I know that much.
Well, that on guard thought he could own a monopoly on popularity.
You don't have any proof that Mr. Ungard did any such thing.
You must be suffering from shock. The shock of hearing the truth. And now, since you're so much shocked, you can't do anything right. Alright, then Steady, show me what you've got. Can you show me proof that Juan didn't...
Yeah, I do. Because... I'm not gonna let you push me around that easily.
I've seen a man, there's many a man who said those exact words and paid dearly for them.
Oh, you jinxed yourself this time. Okay, I actually don't think I have evidence yet. Let me just... Wait, what? Objection! You made fun of me. I don't have anything to offer.
See? Just as I thought. And you're actually blah 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 blah.
That's not how this works! So, what do you mean by I took action? What do you mean by okay?
I was lying in wait close to the crime scene. Once that slimy woman came out of Juan's room, I was going to capture her and teach her a good lesson, something you young'uns need. I was going to make her eat the damaging beams of my ray gun.
No, stop. She didn't go through the door. Nobody else? I doubt that. Miss Old Bag. No, wait. Let's just press her first. Wait.
What? I'm a busy woman. Tea time with the kids is over.
Secret information that no one else knows yet. If that's true, then how do you know the secret information?
Huh? Well, that's because I'm a pro, yes, that's it. It's a secret. Even if you drilled a hole into my brain, you'll never find out.
How in the world of that old bag that's just a secret piece of information? Oh, I know. So no one else is supposed to know this secret information, correct? If that's true, then why do you know it, Miss Oldbag?
Why are you looking at me like that? Stop that.
Witness? I hate to say it, but this is how you came to acquire your secret info, isn't it? She's the one who stole the camera. The investigative photographer, Lotta Hart.
Oh yes, I remember that mischievous girl.
She reported that she had lost a certain note she had written to herself.
She reported such a thing?
On that piece of paper, she had written down some of her impressions about the relationship between the victim and Miss Andrews. Good going, Phoenix. You don't want to get sued for libel. It is very easy to sue people for slander.
What? Outrageous ideas, you say?
No, I said impressions.
Then everything written on this piece of paper is completely meaningless? Ha! Gotcha!
That's it! That's the note!
No! You see, this is something completely different! This is my top secret list for groceries to buy!
Oh, really? Yoink!
Then you are the one who took Miss Hart's note?
I'm just a huge fan of Juan's, that's why. That infamous puppy-haired whippersnapper, she's working with the evil on guard. She said ho herself. On guard, I'm his sidekick. She was so happy, smiling like a silly duck. I was only checking what she had written. Angie Boo, you believe me, don't you? Gah, I hate my job. I was only trying to help out like the angel I am. It's only one little piece of paper. I've never taken anything else before.
We really should come with a supply of cheese to match your vintage wine.
Ooh, sick burn. Well, it was only a piece of paper. I suppose you can overlook this just this once.
She looks like she's really sorry. Should I forgive her? If I let up on her now, she'll get away. I have to find some way to inflict a deafening blow to the prosecution. Witness, you said that the only thing you stole was that note. Is this correct? Oh, but it wasn't just the note that Lotta had lost. It was her camera.
Stole? Why don't you listen more carefully, you annoying brat? I saved this piece of paper from the terrible lonely trash can, that's all.
It wasn't in the trash can! You're lying, damn it, and I can prove it!
Are you putting my credibility under scrutiny again?
Miss Oldbag, I don't believe that the note is the only thing you stole that night. Yeah, the camera. Miss Oldbag, that note was with a camera inside its case, wasn't it?
A camera?
Yesterday, Lotta Hart was raising a huge stink over a camera. She kept saying something like, my sweetie $1,600 camera disappeared on me.
Why, witness.
What is it, Gramps?
If you have the note, then it is only logical that you have the camera too.
Looks like you found me out again, Sonny. Is this the camera you're looking for?
That's...
What?
Even though I look like this, I'm still a person, you know. I still eat meals like you. I fall in love and borrow things from people.
I think your definition of borrow is a little off.
I saw that one on his business card, and that's when I noticed it said, Slimebag Celebrity Photographer Extraordinaire. Well, when I saw that, I had to know what sort of pictures she had taken. I'm a professional security guard. It's my business to know these things.
Bailiff, check this camera's photos. Hurry! We must examine them at once. Well, Mr. Ashworth, what do we have?
There's only one photo that seems to be relevant to this case.
Please present it to the court.
See? Gloves. This is
the Nickel Samurai.
See, I told you. That's the guy I saw.
But that doesn't prove it's Matt on guard.
This proves that the witness was not lying earlier about this matter.
Okay, but that's not Matt on guard.
What does this all mean, Mr. Ashworth?
This photo by itself does not prove that the person in it is the defendant. However, in his own confession, Mr. On Guard clearly stated that, at the time of the murder, he was still in his Nickel Samurai costume.
If that is the case, then this Nickel Samurai is
the defendant.
How did it come to this? I think this brings us to the end. We have examined every piece of evidence thoroughly. Final comments, Mr. Wright? The court will consider them before we close. Do you agree that this photo is decisive evidence against your client?
Come on, dude. I only have one day. If this photo really is decisive, then we're done for. But if I raise an objection here and blow it, then I would put Maya's life in jeopardy. Can't make a mistake here. There's only one road out of this mess. This photo that Lotta took. There's just... There has to be something wrong with it. There's something strange with this photo. I knew this was coming, right?
Your thoughts, Mr. Ashworth?
I think we can all agree there is nothing strange with this photo. There is no way for the defense to debunk this photo, even with a bunker buster.
Debunk with a bunker buster? Is that what you're planning to do, Mr. Wright?
Yes, but not with a bunker buster. Anyway, please look at the photo one more time.
If you really believe you can honestly find something wrong with this photo, then you should only need one chance, correct?
Well, I have to find something wrong with this photo. Can't let this chance go by. Where the heck did she take this photo from? It's all out of focus. Why can't she take a good shot, especially when it counts? Where did she take the photo from? That's a good question, Phoenix. Because if it really was Mr. Kurita, if it really was On Guard leaving Kurita's room, then big doorway. Then it would have been he's coming in from the right. And so that means it would have to be taken from here. Although it could also have been taken from here, because there's definitely doors that way.
Now then, let's hear your objection. What about this photo is strange?
The door? The gloves, right? Wait, what? It's this person here, of course.
You mean the Nickel Samurai? What is wrong with that?
At the time of the murder, Mr. On Guard was in his own room. Which means this Nickel Samurai's a
If you think that's all it takes, you should reconsider your choice of occupation. I think it's about time you retired. Did I lose? Looks like there was no promise photo after all. Promise was the brain of that lawyer, Your Honor. I lost. Wait! You are the one who let your last chance fly away from you, Mr. Wright. I lost. I lost. Fucking lost. Game over, yeah! Is it the mountains on his... Oh! He's saying something different. I would like to direct the court's attention to this one area right here.
What are you pointing to? His ankles?
If you could see this person's ankles, that would be one thing. However, you can't.
And what does that mean?
The costume person in this photo could not have been Mr. On Guard.
What is the meaning of this?
Oh! I wonder if you would care to elaborate, with actual facts, that is. Let's take a look at the Nickel Samurai's poster. Please pay particular attention to the area around the bottom of the hakama.
His socks. You can see his socks.
Exactly. However, in this photo, the Nickel Samurai is clearly holding his hakama up just to walk. Is he? That's not what I don't see that. There is only one explanation for this. The person inside this costume is clearly much shorter than the defendant. Alright, I think I've turned things around for myself this time. That's curious. Huh? What is it? The fact that it took you that many tries to see that. It was so obvious. Edgeworth is unusually calm today. That's true. He's just letting the trial run itself as if he's only along for the ride. Along for the ride? What do you mean by that? I can only guess that perhaps he doesn't feel under attack at all. If he doesn't feel under attack, then I haven't damaged his case at all?
Mr. Edgeworth, where does this leave us? If the person in this photo is not Matt on guard, then everything the prosecution has tried to prove has become meaningless.
I figured it would come to this.
What?
Right. I have something I want to ask you. I think you have proven that this person inside this costume is not Matt on guard. In that case, who is this a photo of? That's not my job to prove! Where's the person wearing the Nickel Samurai costume? Don't stress out over this, Phoenix. It's very simple. What you should be focused on is Edgeworth's attitude, don't you think? Yeah. Why is he so calm? Well, it had to have been the only other person that we know was in the room. Adrian Andrews.
Adrian Andrews?
If you want to know who that Nickel Samurai is, it's none other than this woman. This woman. And why would you say it must be Miss Andrews? What in the world points you to her? Because, for starters, she's short, and she can freely move in and out of Mr. On Guard's room. Finally, she had dinner with Mr. On Guard that night. And how does that all add up? It means that it makes it very easy for her to get a certain item. A certain knife with Mr. On Guard's fingerprints all over it.
The knife that was used as a murder weapon.
Why don't you just say what it is you want, Wright? I have to do this now. This is my last chance to turn things around. The defense moves to indict Miss Adrian Andrews in the murder of Kwon Korida. It was Miss Andrews who tried to frame the defendant for the crime.
It looks like this trial has had a most unexpected development.
Really? Unexpected? I mean, you've never happened before. It's never has the defense accused someone else of the murder. We do this literally every day. Yes, Your Honor. This court has issued a subpoena for Miss Adrian Andrews. A verdict cannot be passed without first hearing her testimony.
Alright, this is it. This is kinda bad for us.
Huh? What do you mean?
If Adrian Andrews is summoned to court as a witness, it means that the trial will go on for another day. Oh, fuck! One more day. Gah! If I don't get a verdict today, then Maya.
Now then, you shall set Miss Andrews' testimony for tomorrow. What am I supposed to do? The judge is about to adjourn the court!
Objection!
Now then.
Please, Your Honor, continue the trial. You must pass the verdict today.
I can't do that. We cannot hear Miss Andrews' testimony if she is not...
I abhor wasting such valuable time.
Edgeworth?
Your Honor, I request that you please continue with today's trial.
But we cannot continue due to this unexpected development.
I was about to say unisex. Unexpected development? I think you underestimate me, Your Honor.
And what do you mean by that?
That Mr. Phoenix Wright would slave his way to subpoenaing Miss Adrian Andrews is all happening according to plan, even if Wright was a bit slow to catch on.
What?
What?
What is the meaning of your statement, Mr. Edgeworth?
Miss Adrian Andrews is currently waiting in the prosecution's lobby. She is the next witness. Everything was planned out in advance by that man. Somehow I knew there was no way there was no way Edgeworth would overlook Miss Andrews. Looks like this battle is far from over. Exactly.
Very well. We will call the next witness. However, before we proceed, we shall take a 10-minute recess. Please prepare your witness in that time, Mr. Edgeworth. The court will now take a 10-minute recess.
I don't normally do this. I'm going to stop recording, take a break, and then start recording again. We're back, and I got my order.
Dude, I can't believe that Adrian... No way! Not cool and collected Adrian Andrews.
I don't believe it was her either. I think this was like a violent jigsaw puzzle. It's a whole conspiracy. She's your manager. It's been very easy for her to pull this off.
They are trying to catch us off guard.
The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner was, well, her.
So after the ceremony during the break, huh? I was sleeping like a log the entire time. Look, she's not a killer. She's too cute.
Also, I thought we've established that she's, like, not in the best, not only, I don't know. Depressed people don't exactly do murders, do they? I don't know.
See, she could have also easily... If you're depressed, I would hope that you are not planning to kill anyone. Ha ha ha.
She could have also have easily planted that blood-covered button in your hakama. You are my nakama. Friend.
Because she was the one that came to wake me up? Then, dude, you're saying it really was her?
Yes, she is the real killer. She was the one who murdered Juan Carita.
But why? I thought she was buds with Juan.
She has her own agenda.
Her own agenda? What are you talking about?
I'm sure you'll see by the time this trial is over. It'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of today.
Give me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze, okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude?
Phoenix. You think her motive is related to Cest Impact's Mrs. Suicide note, right? Yes. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impacts as her strength and reason to live.
But then Miss Impact suddenly killed herself. Oh, suicide. It sounds like she left a suicide note, and the person thought to have hidden it is Juan Carita, the victim of this murder. And that's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Carita. All to get the suicide note back. That sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me. What? Who was it that first told us about their relationship? Better stated, Miss Andrews' dependency issues with regards to Miss Impact's. It was Edgeworth. It looks like he's still the one in command of the ship. Don't let your guard down yet, lest you fall into his trap.
Court will now be convened. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please.
The prosecution calls the witness subpoenaed by this court. Miss Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. Juan Carita's room. What is your occupation? I'm the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Matt on guard.
I see. Now then.
Before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request.
Yes, sure. What is it?
I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing. I would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently.
No, I have no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossipland.
Great, now the judge is committed perjury. The judge is of her prosecution witness. He'd do all my work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relation to the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Carita. I was also aware of the rivalry that existed between Matt and Juan. But this was a private matter between Juan and myself.
So it was a fry and bait matter. Or is that bait and fry? Reminds me of fishing.
Bait and switch. But I didn't kill him. No one has accused me of that. I think there's someone who would beg to differ.
I think we all understand your relationship with the victim now, Miss Andrews.
Very well then. Witness, please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder had taken place. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room. And there was his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was naturally the exact same as in the crime scene photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice.
You poured yourself a glass of juice?
Yes, sadly, I don't remember not to touch things at the scene of the crime. And I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing. And that is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Phoenix. She is one cool and collected customer, and she has the brains to match. Yes, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing. Disrupt her pacing? She's the type of woman who is easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking, so you have to attack when she least expects it. The instant you let up on her offense is the instant this trial is over. Understand? No, I don't. What the fuck are you talking about? The goddamn flies are everywhere. It's so weird, because, like, I see a fly, it's, like, right there, I see it in its relation to the table and the computer, and yet then it just disappears. These flies, it's as if they can hide in my blind spots. Are they like that one SCP that, like, hides in your peripheral vision? It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room, and there was his dead body. I was in shock. just pressure on everything. Now, what was Mr. On Guard doing at the time? He was taking a nap. He was worn out from his mini-performance as the Necklace Samurai during the ceremony. Mr. On Guard did say he was taking a nap. Then I guess you could say it could not have been taken out of his room, yes? Excuse me? What are you... Right. I thought years of school would have taught you how to construct a sentence. If you can't make a sensible sentence with a subject, then I'll make one for you. Watch. Did you, Miss Andrews, remove Mr. On Guard's knife from his room? No. Subject, verb, object. Right. Did you skip basic grammar? The witness may continue. After that, I went to Juan's room. And why did you do that? As a friendly gesture, Juan was about to make an appearance with the other heroes. So the show was supposed to be a show of friendship, huh? Is that the only reason? I beg your pardon? What are you implying? You had a certain goal in mind when you started to get close to him, correct? So perhaps you had a more personal matter to discuss with the victim? Sorry, but I didn't have any such intentions in mind at the time. I can't get her to talk without a strong piece of evidence, I guess. May we continue now? Witness, what did you see when you got to his room? I've got to put, like, some fly paper in my room or whatever, or something. You were in shock? What? Was it not supposed to be? Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock. And you can't seriously expect that a young beauty like her would not be shocked. Somehow, I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. Also, Edgeworth, I thought you were gay. You can be gay and still appreciate a woman's beauty. Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I see.
What I saw was, naturally, the exact same crime scene photo. Except for the glass of juice. Is this the photo this is the photo you're referring to, correct? Yes, the one with the knife lodged in his chest. And the guitar case was like this too? Yes, it was open and empty, of course. And then, what did you do next, witness? Juice? Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? Huh? There were no lip marks left on this wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it. I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down, without drinking it. Miss Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the body of Juan Corrida, you were in great shock, and that's when you poured yourself the glass of juice, correct? And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time. Your mind was a complete blank? I didn't think that was possible for you. Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake. That one thing. What one thing? Never mind. It's no big deal. What was she started to say just now? Miss Andrews, I'm convinced that, as you said, you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so would I. I'm sorry. It's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over.
Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime photo? This mess of glass shards?
It was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case.
Why did you withhold such an important piece of information?
I'm sorry. I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess.
It looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Please add this and anything else you have to reveal to your testimony.
Sorry, but I have nothing more to add. Didn't touch anything else. But... it couldn't have. There would have been signs... there would have been water inside the case. You testified that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct? Yes. And are you sure it fell onto the guitar case? Is there some problem with what I said? It's not some problem. It's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what is so strange. Miss Andrews, you testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, if that was true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside.
That's very true.
Furthermore, there is one other strange thing about this guitar case.
And what is that?
Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor. And what is
wrong with that?
If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, the glass shard should be inside, not outside the case. Gah. What is your point, Wright? That the case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over? Is that all? No, think back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else.
Yes, that's right. She did implicitly say that she didn't touch the guitar case.
But this whole matter and with the guitar case is a dead end. The Wright guitar was found at the studio. It had no bearing on this case at all. That may very well be. However, the empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case, doesn't it?
It seems that there is no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case?
The empty guitar case. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle. I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this. But it is you. I can't believe I'm doing this either. We need to consider every possibility.
All right, I'll follow along for now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case.
Yes, Your Honor. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As why I opened the case, even I don't know. You didn't open the case. There would have been fingerprints. This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that it's almost comfort. Duh! Finally, I fucking got it! I punched it. I punched the fly. Anyway, I'll leave that pause in. It couldn't be been that long. I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination. Using any way to change the topic. A convenient escape for a weak man. Objection! He made fun of me. I don't remember too clearly because I'm a bit dazed. You didn't open it because there would have been fingerprints. There is no way you were the one who opened the guitar case. Why would he say that? It's elementary, my dear. Did you know that my great-granddaddy knew Sherlock Holmes? Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are those of the victim. Ah!
What is it, Mr. and Miss Andrews?
You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case. What do you mean? What if I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at the time? There are fingerprints on the glass! You're not even trying, girly.
Gloves? But why would you be wearing gloves at the time?
It was the night of the award ceremony. So, of course, I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, I remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime.
That's strange. You were wearing gloves. Isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something that would prove I was not wearing gloves at the time? Yes, I do. I have your proof right here. This wine glass. The wine glass. You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. Ugh. Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange?
that you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Yeah. Oh.
One of my favorite jokes is just like a comically huge amount of glasses on one's person, like take off your sunglasses to reveal another pair of sunglasses, or take off a pair of sunglasses, throw them to the ground, put on an identical pair of sunglasses. Comedy gold. Order! 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 Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. What? What do you mean? I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here. But it's just an empty case. I wonder if it really was empty, though. But the guitar, the bright red guitar, was at the studio. Why was it at the studio? Why? Why? Hey, you want to turn that off? Why? Why? I'm allergic. Why? Why? I'm allergic to... Want to turn that off? Why? Why? I'm allergic to peanuts. Sorry for butchering that. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar. You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either. I admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that. So the witness was not wearing gloves, despite the fact that on the case... Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. It's worked for every other trial I've done! Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and lull us all into his misguided... These unrelated topics have always found the fucking murderer. Are you serious? If it works, it works. You cannot deny the effectiveness of my tactics. No, Your Honor. Please recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it is wide open in this photo of the crime scene. I am sure that this guitar case has some relation to the murder. If you are so sure, Wright, then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please enlighten us as to why that guitar case has anything at all to do with this murder.
Can you do that, Mr. Wright?
Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case.
The bright red guitar not being the only thing? You don't mean to suggest that a bright black guitar was...
So, you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty? Is that it, Wright? I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proved anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside the case at the time of the murder? Another case. No. What? Why is the judge extra mean today? Nickel samurai costume?
Aha! I did it!
I knew it.
This is a photograph.
Yes, but what is important is what is in that picture, Your Honor.
Ink. In this picture?
It doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I am proposing is... inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume.
What? Mr. Wright, explain yourself.
Right? Are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume?
What? No, haven't you been listening? I was arguing that the witness didn't
Open the guitar case. What insane point would there be to doing something like that? That insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she can make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews?
I refuse to accept your theory.
Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get this shot, correct?
You mean this photo? Order! Order! It looks like we've wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we?
Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later.
So the real murderer was hiding inside a costume.
Wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai's costume would have been Mr. Matt on guards.
Why would something of the defendant be in the victim's room? And I don't remember the... And inside the guitar case of all places.
True, that is a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What was the Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case?
I don't think it was a spare... Had to have been stolen. If it was a spare costume, why would Karita have it? I think it may have been stolen from Mr. Engard.
Stolen? But why would someone do such a thing?
Maybe the thief wanted to interfere with a post-ceremony stage show. And so, if he didn't have his costume, then Mr. Engard would be forced to go naked. Oh, you lost me. Maybe you should be stripped naked and run out for making a mockery of this court. Edgeworth, your pickup lines are getting...
Excuse me?
Accurate reaction. Mr. Madangard did not take his costume off after the award ceremony. He even testified that he took a nap while still wearing his costume. Is this not correct? Ah, yeah, he did say something like that, didn't he? I want to see what rude thing the judge will call me now.
That's what I thought. Your life is nothing. You serve zero purpose.
I'm not going to finish that sentence. I wonder if there is an edit of the judge telling Mr. Phoenix Wright to game end himself. Mr. Engard did not take his period off during the break. Costume off. Mr. Engard had his period during the break period. Did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we were talking about was a spare one. What?
Then, are you saying on the night of the murder, there were 2 Nickel Samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel?
Yes, that is what I am saying.
And how do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case?
It would mean that the victim himself had brought this spare to the ceremony on purpose.
But why? The victim, Mr. Korita, was the Jammin' Ninja. Why would he secretly bring the Nickel Samurai spare costume with him? What could be the reason besides such a peculiar act?
And therein lies the second point. What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? So you just gonna bring me a birthday gift from my birthday to my birthday party on my birthday with a birthday gift? Huh? No, I just...
Mr. Wright, please explain yourself.
Well... Why do you think the victim had the Nickel Samurai spare costume? Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer. And then answer with gusto. I believe you. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai spare costume to the hotel was... Alright.
What is this?
On the night of the murder, yes, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference.
A press conference?
Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference. I heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up, right? I'll leave in that moment of silence so people know that I was thinking. I was thinking, you see. But what struck me as strange was that Mr. Engard himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night.
But how could that be?
He's an idiot. My client is an idiot, Your Honor. The way I see it, that can only mean one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Corrida himself. He was gonna get Matt canceled.
The victim?
Yes. The spare Nickel Samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Corrida was going to hold the press conference as the Nickel Samurai.
He was going to dress up as the Nickel Samurai and hold a conference? But why would the victim do such a thing?
That's something I don't quite know yet. However,
What I am concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at that conference. The Nickel Samurai was going to confess something. If I confess, I'd wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that Juan Carita, posing as the Nickel Samurai, was going to speak about Matt on guard. Yes, I guess that is what that would mean. But if that's the case, that's not a confession, that's public disclosure.
Miss Andrews?
I can see why you are pros at what you do.
Pardon me?
Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan. Okay, I think I've gotten a good, settled on a good voice for this lady, this, nice lady.
Miss Andrews, please offer an explanation for this.
I was the one he asked to help set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me.
You?
Juan had bet everything on the Jammin' Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. I'm right, he was gonna get him cancelled.
He was going to ruin him, huh?
It looked like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. He was... What?!
And do you know what the secret of Mr. Ongar's is, Miss Andrews?
That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is.
Ah, I see.
I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone, but that should be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt, after all. Protect Mr. On Guard?
And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could, please tell us the truth about your behavior.
Yes, Your Honor. I understand. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him.
This does account for everything.
Well, I am the logical type. We're finally seeing her true self. She is more nervous than a scared rabbit.
If the defense can find no fault with this testimony, I am ready to make a ruling. Please keep that in mind as you cross-examine Mr. Wright.
Looks like somehow everything has swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. Would you say that was your intuition speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. Okay, that might be one of the best roasts yet. Just like, calling you out. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things. 3 things. A motive, an opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. That's true. Those are 3 different kinds of evidence. And if you think these 3 things through, the answer becomes quite clear. You should have already known that, Phoenix. They didn't teach that to us at school, at least not from what I remember. What school did you go to? The Universe of American Samoa? An online course? What a joke. I work my ass off to get where I am, and you take these shortcuts. You think you're my hero? You think what I do because you're funny and you make people laugh? This is not a game. You don't slide into it like a cheap pair of shoes. I dedicated my life to this. May I continue now? Are you done quoting Better Call Saul? Matt had to kill Juan no matter what.
So wait, so did you say that this need came from the press conference? Yes, do you know why Juan chose that event and what that hotel for the conference? Because that was when he could cause the most damage to the public's beloved Matt on guard.
And you knew of this plan, didn't you, Miss Andrews?
Yes, because I was the one who set up the conference and prepared the costume. But I'm sure Mr. On Guard himself didn't know anything about the press conference. Oh, really? Can you show me any proof that he didn't know about the press conference? Anyway, the important thing here is that this information was not in your testimony.
Yes, I agree. Miss Andrews, please correct your testimony, if you please.
Grasping at straws now, are we, Mr. Wright? I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right. Has Mr. On Guard done something to hurt or betray you personally? Why do you ask? You were the one who helped Mr. Carita with his press conference. And that event was supposed to bring down Mr. On Guard, yet you still helped out. The person on trial right now is Mr. On Guard, right? What the witnesses think in helping the victim with his plan is none of our concern. In any case, this means that the defendant had a motive to kill. Why do I keep doing this to myself? And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. He was sleeping. But didn't you already testify earlier that Mr. On Guard was taking a nap in his room? Are you telling me now that that too was a lie so you could cover for Mr. On Guard? I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he honestly was sleeping. However, as to whether he was sleeping the entire time, that I cannot say.
Have you tried doing anything after waking up from a nap? Like, yeah, sometimes after taking a nap you feel well rested, you're energetic, but most of the times when you wake up from sleeping, you just want to go back to sleep.
I was too busy setting up the stage at the time.
I keep trying, but I can find no flaws with what Miss Andrews has said. I can't say the same for some people here in this courtroom, however.
The judge is glaring straight at Mia.
He's glaring at you, smartass!
Is it me? It's not Travis! The button and the knife. One of you will betray me. I don't want to name names, but one of you will betray me. Is it me, Jesus? No, it's not you, John. It's not you, Paul. Is it me? Stares at Judas. It's not John! You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. There was a disciple named John, right? The fingerprints on the knife could very well be of clever camouflage. Then, what about the button? The button? It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought. And during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the Jammin' Ninja's costume. But no, it was covered in blood! It would have to have been removed after the stab.
You're talking about this button, correct?
That button was found in the pleats of Matt's Hakama, isn't that correct? I would think that makes it very decisive evidence. But it was in the spare Hakama.
Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright.
Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. Thank goodness Mia can still look at me. With an icy stare, yes. Everybody hates you. We all fucking hate you. Every pony hates you. We all fucking hate you. That's my favorite line from My Little Pony.
Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony.
A pity append. Oh. Blood. Damn it! Hate my life. And how do you know that? When the ends of the thread on the button and the costume were matched up, they were found to fit together perfectly, or so I heard. No, how do you know that was torn off during the fight? I've heard that before too. But why would Miss Andrews know about this case down to such a fine detail? Don't look at me like that, just because I'm prepared and you are not. Grr! And I thought I had her this time for sure. If there's anything to trip her up on, that's be here. But where and what? During his fight with Matt. During? Nope. Autopsy report. Yes! This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf. Strangulation? The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died. Oh!
And what does that mean?
Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean that it was ripped off of the costume. When? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly. Which means it is impossible that this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle. Because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. Ah. That's right, Miss Andrews. There is no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off of the victim's already dead body.
Order! Order! What is the meaning?
What is the meaning of this, Wright? So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did that serve? What purpose? We know that this button was not torn off during the fight, so the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it?
Mr. Wright, does this mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with the button? What was it?
Sticking with my original assertion, to pin the crime on God. There is only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. On Guard. There is no way anyone would put a bloody button in their own pants. That's right. Mr. On Guard was set up. By the real killer, of course.
And the real murderer is? Well, Mr. Wright, who in the world is the real killer then?
Finally. I can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point. Phoenix, you can't let your guard down yet. Not until the very end. The real killer, the person who planned to frame Mr. On Guard is... I feel like I have to say that it's Adrian. Miss Adrian Andrews, I choose you. You are Mr. Corita's killer. The one who actually committed the crime is you.
Order! Mr. Wright, this is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge?
Any evidence? All the evidence points to Miss Andrews. What? How preposterous. You can't stick any of that on me. I can't, can I? Would you care to test me? Then what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. On Guard. Naturally, a knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could only be taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you. Tisk! Then, what? What about the button that was found in Matt's Hakama? This button was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body or the killer. However, if Mr. On Guard was the real killer, there is no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own Hakama. Ah! The only person who could have put this button into Mr. Ungar's coma is the person who went to wake him from his nap, which is you, yet again, Miss Andrews.
I see. What about the empty guitar case?
That is also one other piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Now, who could have known that there was such a costume inside the guitar case? It could only have been the one who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews. No, But Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found on the guitar case, and it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time.
That's right.
That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found out that she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open them. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposefully left her fingerprints on the glass to show that, yes, indeed, she was the classic day's discoverer of a dead body. And to top it all off, there is this photo. A photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth can believe this nickel samurai is Mr. Engard. He would be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not? Please stop. Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? I've got her this time. Miss Andrews? I refuse to testify. What was that? There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me. And that's true. But that means you also can't testify, so all the other shit you said is inadmissible, right? Is that how it works?
Well, yes. You are absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. Law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination by allowing a witness to not testify, and the testimony can cause damage to themselves. What?
Yeah, you don't know about that? I thought you knew about that. Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. No, I think most people would think to do that. Most people would do that. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Engard's room. Adrian Andrews. Yes. Same time we just discussed. Discussed, eh? That's it. That's when Francisca planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews not to testify if things looked bad. You did a good job proving everything up to this point, Phoenix. But there is still one thing you haven't done. Something I haven't done? What's wrong, Wright? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence?
What is so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth?
I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to prove a single piece of definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbor a wish to murder Mr. Corrida.
Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Corrida?
I believe this may lead to me incriminating myself, so I'll abstain from answering.
But Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think?
Catch-22. Maybe so, or maybe not. There's nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No! She's taken that defiant attitude again. But Mia, what should we do? Somehow, we've landed in the worst possible situation.
I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify, and the defense's theory that she is the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid, definitive proof.
But that's not true!
In this situation, there is only one thing the court can do, and that is to declare a recess.
Recess.
I request that both the prosecution and the defense look further into this matter, and at tomorrow's trial...
Tomorrow? Maya. I forgot about Maya again. We don't have a tomorrow. If you don't get a not guilty verdict today, then... Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. The trial. Please continue the trial. What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he?
Live with the death penalty for one murder that we're not even sure that he did?
Ah. That's not it. This isn't about that.
Dystopia.
Edric, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya.
Who the fuck is Maya? But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is...
It is not impossible for this trial to continue.
Mr. Edgeray, what are you...
It's true, Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation were something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony.
Yes, that is very true, but...
Actually, there is one little thing that I'm curious about. Miss Andrews, when you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and? I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds a body, they are shaken up, not stir it in a glass of juice. So my actions were unusual, but I've already... Before you speak, I want to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like you to testify to that effect. Testify? This seems like something I would do, not Edgeworth. Like, I would be the one pressing the witness on why they did a specific thing. Your Honor, I would like to request that a witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. I don't know what it is about Edric today, but I can't get a good read off him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know. He has a crush on me. Obviously, Mia.
The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please.
That glass of juice. I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over.
So you poured that glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony?
I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial. That doesn't sound trivial. Phoenix, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with this testimony, then there's nothing left. I know. Edgeworth, what the heck is going on in that brain of yours? Gay thoughts.
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
When I found the body. Messy state. Can't find a contradiction. When did he die? Time of death 8:15 p.m. If we remove the glass, remove the vase, what would next? The knife? Surely she'd have seen the knife. Damn it. Nope. Okay, guess I'll just do my usual hold it. Press them on every detail until something slips up. What color was the chair? But there wasn't anyone else in the... Of course not. Then who did you port for? Mr. Wright, there is a rhyme and reason for everything. Can you just wait a little longer for it to be revealed for you? What are you, a Randian? Oh, everybody does things for a reason. Nobody ever has an irrational reason for doing something. So that's why personal responsibility, and honestly, those people who have mental health problems, they should just get good and take responsibility for their depression. Fuck off, you Samus Aran reject. That was mean, I apologize. Precisely. I couldn't have said it better myself. Leave that pause in, it was funny. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. So, it was a mess. Are you sure it wasn't messy because of your fight with Mr. Kurita? I understand your frustrations and not being able to prove your theory. However, before you go accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence. Grr. And then, what did you see next, witness? And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. Slumped over? Yes, he was just sitting there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he was sleeping. Is it just me, or did that right there sound a little odd? When I saw him sitting like that, I thought... Press him on everything else first. Then what did cross your mind? I thought maybe he had smashed everything up in anger because he lost the Grand Prix. I then felt tired after his rampage, so we decided to take a nap. Anyways, that's what I thought.
Oh, I see. So you didn't think it was dead at all?
Seems like something that should be added to a testimony. Just to be honest, I thought he fainted or something. You thought he fainted? I thought he was asleep at first. But then, the room was in such a messy state, I thought maybe he had gotten into a fight with someone. And that's when you went to pour the glass of juice. Yes, he always has a hard time waking up, so Juan always has a glass of tomato juice to drink.
I see. And after that, what happened next?
When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the fire blaze over. And how did you come to realize that he was, in fact, dead? I shook him over and over, but I never got a response. So I set the glass down on the dresser and tried to take his pulse. I was shocked and staggered backward. And knocked the flower vase over. So that's what happened. Yes. This is what it all comes down to. Huh? This is the absolute end for both sides, and Adrian is letting her guard down. Feeks. Now's her best chance to kill the prosecution's case. Isn't that a bit harsh? Miss Andrews, will you tell us the truth this time? This is the thing that Phoenix thought was suspicious. Slumped over in the corner? No. Let's see. Thought he was dead. Thought he had fainted. Realized he was dead. But if you knock the flower... If you had... How could you have knocked the vase over, but not the glass of juice? Penis. Yes! So you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him? No, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body.
Ah,
What is the meaning of this? Wait, I tried to do that earlier when she said I didn't think he was dead. I presented the picture of the photo, but that didn't work. What is the meaning of this? Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There is a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Kurita's chest. Anyone who saw the scene would have immediately thought that here was a dead man. Perhaps, well, you see, I doubt a single person in the world would mistake this for someone who fainted, and then so nonchalantly go pour something to drink. Yeah, your point is? Miss Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all one giant lie. And your lie has proven one thing very clearly, that you are the real killer! No!
Looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. The defendant, Mr. Malengard, is not guilty after all.
But that's impossible. You're wrong.
Miss Andrews, try and have some composure.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt. I swear it. He's the one who killed Juan. But you were the one who refused to testify. And your reason for not doing so was that you might end up incriminating yourself. That's because...
Miss Andrews, I will give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you?
I refuse to testify.
Then there is no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Malengard's innocence has been clearly demonstrated.
Is it over? Have we found the truth at last? What's wrong, Phoenix? Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. Now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't. Now then,
I'd like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Malengard.
Your Honor, the prosecution feels that it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time.
What?
The reason is quite simple. This witness has yet to speak the absolute real truth.
The absolute real truth? What are you?
Witness, don't you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted the silly idea in your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Malengard will go free, and in his place, you will become the guilty party. That's a lie. I don't believe you. What? I was told if I spoke, then it would be all over, and Matt would never be declared guilty. Who told you this? What in the world is she talking about? Von Karma. Has she lost it? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. It's Francisco Von Karma. Man, I am crushing it with these predictions. Huh? Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly onto the words of another, because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself.
Jesus Christ, parasocial! You need to look off! Jesus Christ!
Then, right now, Miss Andrews is... Yesterday, she was tossed into a lifesaver by Miss Von Karma. Don't say a word no matter what happens. If you do, Matt Engard will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now and is clinging on to them. And what should we do? This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this. But Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we have to do now is get her not guilty. That is my only priority. It wasn't me. I'm begging you, please believe me. I didn't kill Huang. Oh, please. Someone help me.
Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor?
The court can't continue on like this, therefore I'd like to hear what you intend to do.
What I intend to do?
What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say?
Right. I suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about what this witness did and what she did not do. And think about who is the real mastermind behind this crime. The real mastermind? Isn't that obvious? There's no one else it could be except the one crying over there, right? White woman tears. Come now, what will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? I have to win a complete acquittal today. There's no way around that. But I can't bring myself to do it like this. Not when she's making a face like that. Miss Andrews, I would like to know what you are really hiding.
Hey, Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing?
Sure, Mr. On Guard would get an acquittal, but in place you would be found guilty. Is this real how you really want this trial to end? But be quiet. How dare you? You're trying to trick me!
That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear that the defense's theory is the truth.
You're wrong. What a shame. I had hoped things wouldn't come to this, however.
What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my soldiers to disclose this to the court. Stop.
Mr. Edgeworth?
This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness. Jesus, judgmental much.
What?
And because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide in the past. Stop, please stop. No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. It's no use! I have the evidence right here. That's the second part of the suicide report. The attempted suicide report. What will you do now, witness? You know what I'm about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of the pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews. The secret of her dependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world. Please, please stop. I beg you. If people find out, if people find out, I'll... If you're gonna say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me. Jesus, Edgeworth. How can you be so cold? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips. No matter what I have to do. So, will you tell the court yourself, or shall I? Either is fine with me. Edgeworth, you're gonna get cancelled. I'll talk, but please, help me. Nothing matters anymore. Crime. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted. Honest. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matthew's room. And then, I stabbed Juan's dead body with a knife and ripped off the button. Just when I finished him, so I was turned into Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. And that's why I ended up using the Nicholas Samurai costume. Well, that would prove that it was neither Adrian nor Matt who did the kill.
Stabbed the body with a knife, but why would you do that?
Isn't it obvious? To pin the blame on a certain person. A certain cowardly man.
What do you mean by all of this?
It might take this court a little while to understand, but this is the truth. The real killer is Matt. That scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time. Last time. So, Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, Juan Carita, in the chest with a knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt on guard for the murder. This whole Matt's incrimination was based on the belief that the knife was plunged into the victim by Matt. But if that knife was just planted there to frame Matt, then we're back at square one. We have no proof that Matt actually did it. And this is her crime. was this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer?
Mr. Wright, please get over your shock and commence the cross-examination.
When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. But you could tell from the state the room was in that there must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when you say that you did not know he was dead? He had a scarf tied around his neck. That scarf is a part of the Jammin' Ninja's costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up, and went to pour the juice. What is this plan you had? I knew right away the murderer was Matt. I knew because Juan, he was going to expose Matt's weakest weak point to the world. So Matt did this to stop Juan and silence him for good. That's when I thought I should forge some evidence and pin this crime on Matt. Pinning this crime on Matt would imply that Matt didn't actually do the murder, though. So the four pieces of evidence were the knife and the button. The only two pieces of evidence that incriminate Matt. God. The first thing that came to mind was to plant the knife. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. That was so you could get the knife, correct? The knife Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought if I used that, then the police would certainly turn their eyes towards him. Matt was napping with his costume on at the time. I slipped in, took the knife, and returned to the scene of the crime. And then I stabbed Juan's dead body with a knife and ripped off the button. So you were the one to stab the victim with that knife. It gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing I did. But at the time I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. Then when I stabbed Juan's dead body, I suddenly realized something. If I used the button somehow, I could make Matt look even more suspect. So you thought to rip all of the buttons off and then plant it in Mr. Unguard's Hakama. Yes, that's what I had planned to do. But things never go that smoothly, do they? Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. An inconvenience? There was a woman with a camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway. Lotta Hart. I'm willing to bet my spikes it was Lotta. Are you saying those spikes are like not your hair, though, like a part of your skull? There was also a woman with a ray gun at the ready, pacing back and forth. That's Miss Oldbag for you. I had already been caught and made into a big scoop for a certain weekly tabloid once, so I couldn't very well go out looking like myself and get caught again. And that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. You were the one who prepared that costume, weren't you? Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it into Juan's guitar case the day before the awards ceremony. That's strange. Why? You did this in preparation for the press conference, correct? Oh, right, the press conference. The press conference that was supposed to, cancel Matt on guard. Yes, Juan wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference in it. He was going to disclose Matt's big secret there.
And what is this secret?
That, I don't know. Anyway, I thought that if I were to leave Juan's room in the Nickel Samurai costume, then people would think that Matt was the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. I absolutely did not want anyone to know about the costume.
I think we've heard enough. So, after that, you went back to Mr. Unguard's room and planted the button?
Into Masakama? Yes. After that, I folded the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag. Then I snuck it out of the hotel and got rid of it.
My word. What does all this mean?
Mr. Redworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt on guard, but there's no proof. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor sat me down for a talk. Francisca, huh? She said that I should, under no circumstances, confess to what I had done. That if I just kept quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words.
What this witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can be certain she is not the real killer.
What? Where's the proof that it was mad on God? Can't we just say that no one, just rule it a suicide or a heart attack, man? That's what they do in real life. Just give up. Say you can't find the killer. Let both of these people walk free. Wait, Your Honor. The defense still... Right. It's pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything.
Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. The cross-examination of this witness is over, and so is today's trial. You couldn't establish that the witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright.
Yeah, well, the prosecution couldn't establish that my client was the culprit. But...
Mr. Edgeworth, please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questioning.
Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange for her detention immediately.
That is all. Court is adjourned for today.
Did I lose? I fucking lost, didn't I? It's Jover. Witness, would you mind if I asked you something?
One more thing.
Edgeworth? What is it? Before you leave court today, I wonder if I might look at one thing. The card in your hand. It's had my interest for quite some time now. What exactly is it? Oh, this? Mr. Wright also asked about this. Although I didn't remember at the time you asked me about it. Mr. Wright. I remember just now. I found this in the room on that day. The room? That day? Tommy Wiseau? Yes. I found this card when I discovered Juan's body. It was lying there right next to him. You found that card next to the victim's body? I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped it into my pocket. But it's not that this card has any relevance to Juan's murder, right? Yeah, I guess not, but it's still a strange card if you ask me. But as far as a clue to this case, I don't see why...
Witness, that card. Give it to me. Hurry!
Edgeworth?
Do you have any idea what you have stupidly yet inadvertently done? This. Can't believe you hid this from me all this time.
Edgeworth once again being kept in the dark. I didn't mean to. What is this all about? I've never seen her so emotional before. Emotional damage. That card. What in the world is it? And what does it mean? Are we still in the fucking trial? Because Phoenix said it has to be in one day. Investigation? Huh. Okay, then I guess we're done. We're gonna have to do the investigation. Later, guys.